Now, I don't want to rag entirely on this team. I know there are memes, there are missing children posters, there are missing player posters. But believe me when I say the Ottawa Senators have a lot to be proud of this season. They ended up making the playoffs in a pretty intriguing way. I think a lot of folks who are watching Ottawa throughout the course of this season could agree on one thing. The team is great. The goaltending not so much. Well, what happens when you play off in a 4-game series against the Carolina Hurricanes? You end up seeing the exact opposite take place. For the most part, the goaltending in Ottawa was awesome. The rest of the team, not so much. The Sens, in 4 games played, ended up scoring a total of 5 goals for, losing these games by 1 goal twice and by 2 goals twice. By no means was this a perfect series by either team, but you can definitely say that some names were certainly a lot more missed than others. With that said, we're talking about Brady Tkachuk in this video. Ottawa Senators captain, and a guy who went pointless in the 4-game series against Carolina. 59 points in 60 games in the regular season, a pretty big step up from the 55 points he had in 72 games last year. Obviously, we recognize that when Brady Tkachuk is on top of his game, he's a point-per-game guy. He's gone out there with 83 points in 82 games in his peak season, and this season that point production rate was just underneath. Not to mention the 3 goals he had scored at the Four Nations last year, the 5 points in 6 games he had for the Olympics this year. Brady Tkachuk has been an All-American American, and seeing him go out there against Carolina and put up donuts was absolutely terrible. With that said, we now have some extended trade conversation on Brady, because it's not just the playoff run itself that you can point your fingers at. It's the entire picture as a whole. Let's take a look at this tweet posted by NHL Rumor Report on Twitter. This is what David Pagnotta said on the Hello Hockey show shortly after Ottawa got eliminated. I think there's a good chance the Sens explore trading Brady Tkachuk this summer. Now, have your opinions on David Pagnotta if you so choose, but this is one of the most connected NHL insiders going out there and saying that, yeah, this guy is not immune from trade talk. And you could also say that maybe this is deserved. You think about the context, how we, especially us as Canadians, how we are viewing these American captains of Canadian teams. Quinn Hughes in Vancouver wanted out, wanted to go to the States, he left. Austin Matthews in Toronto, potentially the same thing. Brady Tkachuk in Ottawa might want to follow in the footsteps of his brother Matthew, who left Calgary. Brady Tkachuk is signed on till the end of 2028, making $8.20 million a year. So there is an expiration date on the contract, and thus you could open up the possibility of Brady potentially being seen as a trade chip for the Ottawa Senators. In fact, you've got folks on social media saying that Brady Tkachuk could probably be a trade win for Ottawa should they make this move. He could be an overvalued addition by subtraction type of piece. Now, I'll leave you to your own discretion to determine what exactly that means. Would the Ottawa Senators actually get better, quote-unquote, as a hockey team if they traded Brady Tkachuk away? You could say the same thing about Vancouver and JT Miller, for example, but Brady is an entirely different animal. With that established, we also have an article that was posted by Dave Littman on NHLTradeRumors.me that cites what Frank Saravalli went out there and said on The Big Show with Ruzick and Rose, suggesting flat out that Brady Tkachuk doesn't look like he wants to be in Ottawa. Frank Saravalli, who is as American as they come, went out there and said this: I've never questioned Brady's heart and his commitment to win, and his compete level, but in some ways I can't help but feel like he has been a little bit checked out in Ottawa. And I don't know if that's post-Olympics or what. The Senators were down 3-0 last year in the first round against Toronto and came back to win a couple of games to at least make it interesting. But as Sarah Bailey pointed out, the front office hasn't really done anything to push the program forward since then. It's almost the exact same roster, player for player, from last year's team. Asked Sarah Bailey, why have the Sens not done anything to try and improve since then? Why has every other team around the league been pounding the pavement to try to improve, and the Sens have done very little? For Brady, I think it's him asking if he can win in Ottawa or not. The article then says here, Brady was met with some derisive comments and attitude when he arrived back in Canada's capital in February after playing a big part in Team USA's gold medal victory over Canada at the Olympics, followed by his visit to the White House with he and his American teammates. It was uncomfortable and unnecessary, but he insisted at the time that he still loves being the captain of the Sens, and all that off-ice stuff didn't bother him. But what's happening now has got some wondering otherwise. You know, it's funny, I don't remember specifically who posted it, but I saw a tweet that said something along the lines of, Brady Tkachuk is going to get eliminated in 4 games, and then next week he's going to jump on his brother's podcast to talk about the second-round matchups. Something about that imagery just feels so funny to me. It's like, oh yeah, captain of the team, straight up now he has a platform to dive into the matchups of the teams that eliminated him, and the teams that he probably should want to aspire to be more like. His brother gets the pass. Matthew ended up winning back-to-back Stanley Cups, so we can save that criticism for another day. But with David Pagnotta, with Frank Saravalli, with a whole bunch of discourse surrounding Brady Tkachuk and his future in Ottawa coming right to the forefront here, it does prey upon the insecurities that we had brought up earlier in the season. How this guy could follow in the footsteps of his brother. It wasn't even just Matthew Tkachuk that specific season. Johnny Gaudreau, another American phenom, also left Calgary at the same time. Are we starting to see this shift? Matthew Tkachuk, Johnny Gaudreau, Quinn Hughes, the first 3, followed up by Brady Tkachuk and Austin Matthews. Could these top-tier American dudes who are highly touted, highly drafted NHL players, okay, Johnny Gaudreau wasn't highly drafted, but still, these superstars, they want to go back to the States. Can you really trust NHL captains that are from the USA to be a significant, key part of these Canadian franchises? Heck, even Connor Hellebuck in Winnipeg is going through some similar ideas. Jets burner boy probably knows a lot about that. Going out there and reading some of the replies over here, I mean, coming in hot, what is a team willing to pay for a 30-goal, 65-point winger that disappears in the playoffs? It's the Florida Panthers, or Brady is a fool. Hey, this is actually funny because we did make a few videos talking about the idea of Brady joining his brother Matthew in Florida. It seems so obvious, but it only seems so obvious until it happens. And then at that point, it's like, we were fools for thinking otherwise. Do you think there is a genuine conversation to have about Brady Tkachuk and his status as the Ottawa Senators captain after a disappearing act in the playoffs against Carolina in round 1? Is this guy on a short leash? Is David Pagnotta right? Are the Sens going to explore Brady Tkachuk trade options this summer? You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.